All right, everyone, welcome to our next edition of Funnel Vision. My name is Jerry Henry. With me is Francisco Garcia. Today, we're going to be walking through and showing exactly where your next marketing dollar should be working the hardest in a way that finance, your RevOps team, and the board can actually trust.
And we'll keep it plain English because there's no other English that I would like or that we would like and actionable. This
Perfect.
section
So,
is this is recorded, so it'll always be here for your viewing pleasure.
some quick intros. So my name is Jerry Henry, head of customer success here at RevSure. I'll pass it to you, Francisco, and then we will kick this off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. So the why behind MMX and why B2B needs to know about MMX is right now what we're seeing across the board is there's a very long sales cycle, right? Anywhere from 90 days to almost a year if you're in the enterprise space. There's a lot going on currently on multi-threading, understanding buying committees. I think we've seen a wave or a shift as well of making sure, right, you need CFOs and CROs and CMOs and all the fun C levels involved. With that comes a lot of online, offline, brand awareness, a bunch of different channels and methods that all become intertwined and really understanding how is all this working. And what we've also historically seen and why RevSure really focuses on MMX is generic MMX overall really misses a lot of the funnel stages, the ROI, and a lot of things behind this.
Exactly. And how you pointed out, Jerry, right? Like our approach connects attribution to full funnel management and actionable recommendations. So you, yes, you can change budgets with confidence.
So the future of B2B attribution, right, is really helping connect full funnel management, actual recommendations, a lot of different things that Francisco just mentioned. So with RevSure, we're really helping blend, right, the marketing mix modeling with multi-touch attribution and incrementality testing all into one system. With this, it's really going to help quantify each of your channels' impact on pipeline, your booking. Multi-touch attribution connects known and anonymous journeys as well, and that's how we can then focus on the incremental testing, which really is going to confirm that true lift. And one great thing about this is all of this is without cookies or identity dependence.
Yep, exactly, Jerry. And one of the things here that's very impactful, right, is MMX marketing mix modeling is key for when you need privacy safe channel level incrementality and budget allocation across online and offline, right? So all of those interactions. And one of the major pieces is it captures saturation and lag, right? So understanding that those campaigns, those channels are driving pipeline, they're driving booking, right? Even though they weren't currently run in this current time frame, right? So MMX tells you where that next dollar should go, right? And kind of talking about our holistic approach and how we bring everything together.
Exactly. And then why is RevSure's MMX different? So I think there's a few different ways. One, we're really helping with a unified and full funnel process, right? So we're combining marketing mix with multi-touch attribution, incremental testing to really measure the impact across the whole entire funnel. What we've also done is we've really taken away and focused truly on B2B, and that's how we've designed it for our B2B customers and teams that are leveraging it. And the reason, once again, is this is truly built for those long sales cycles. If you're having multi-stage funnels, right? So maybe you're going to have an intro call and then it goes more into awareness and ROI. What are all the different things that you're doing within those stages to help with deal velocity and at the end of the day, get this deal across the line? And that's where we're really being able to go in here. A fun thing too, obviously, is leveraging AI, right? So with this, we have advanced models that are being updated daily. So it's not this monthly, quarterly thing. It's something that's updated in real time, giving you those real insights that are needed. Then from there, we're helping integrate and make the next steps actionable. I think that's one thing that happens a lot as well, right? Is you could look at a pretty graph or you could look at a dashboard or different things, but it's what do I do from here? And that's where RevShare can really help you know what those actionable steps are going to be from here. How we're going to do that is different ROI curves, One of the cool things we've been doing a lot with our customers lately as well as scenario planning. So understanding, hey, if we do this, what is the outcome going to be? And then from there, really understanding how are we going to optimize your budget, right? Where are the dollars going to go that's going to impact you, your business, and your deals the most?
Exactly. So what this means, everything Jay just shared is so impactful, right? But it looks at just really summarize, right? The channel contribution, the pipeline bookings ROI metrics, AI guided budget allocation, and response and ROI curves. So at every point, you can balance your short term and your long term impact that you want to make across the funnel. And here, Jared will dive into some of that methodology that we've already kind of hinted at, but just really bringing it home.
Yeah. So within here, there's kind of a few different things that we're going to have within here, right? Is understanding your data and the preparation that goes behind it. So from there is where we're going to be figuring out a handful of different things that are going to be what's happening, right? Is going to be for the channel, geographic segmentation, a bunch of different things that are going to start tying in that aspect around there. From there, also understanding like your baseline and sales modeling. So is there seasonality that's happening? Different things within here. From here, our model is going to start doing the training. So that's where we're going to be doing regressions, different things to really, once again, understand everything behind the scenes to understand. From there, we'll then move into some of the touch and incrementality signals. What are we doing? Be able to start showing some of the response curve generations. And then Francisco, if you want to go over what you get from here.
Yeah, let's yeah, let's dive into that. And
Yeah.
those are some, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So one thing too, as well as I mentioned, right, there's so many online, offline channels. We have a lot of stuff going over brands. So within RevSure's MMX, these are different channels that we're able to make sure that are covered, right? So we're kind of broken up into 5 different areas. So we're going to start with the digital paid media, right? What are we doing on LinkedIn? What are some of the paid socials, paid search? As we all know, those could kill budgets if you're not doing it the right way, right? So really understanding what's working, looking at those ROI curves, even as I mentioned, that scenario planning on, hey, if we do this, what are going to be the differences from here? The
Sure.
other big channels, right, are going to be around content syndication. So all the display ads, organic and owned media, social content marketing, SEO, referrals, chat, email marketing, all those different things, right, on how you're getting your information syndicated out to everyone. Then we all know that SDRs, sales, right? They have their own initiatives and goals. So understanding the SDR outreach, SDR and business development activities. Are we doing direct mail with, say, Sendosa or different things there, right? And how are we tying that in once again? Because we also know those channels can be very costly. And then we have other campaigns, right, that fall into a general bucket. So we have different ABM approaches, offline event marketing. I think I had a conversation with a customer last week of like, hey, we ended up having an event. We had a bunch of ad hoc people that we invited from the booth, but they didn't come to our dinner. We got their email. Like, how are you tying all these different channels together? Really within those offline events, podcasts, webinars, brand campaigns. And then once again, macroeconomic indicators, industry trends. Those are things that I feel a lot of companies in their heads understand, right? Hey, we're forecasting for Q4 and that's the holiday season, but we don't really know the trends or some of those macroeconomic indicators that are really going to help. That's where RevSure does all of that for you. And then from there, it can really be able to show you everything that's working.
Powerful, powerful stuff, Jerry. But let's see the power behind everything, right? And the power behind everything is here is one of here I have a spend optimization widget, right, within the marketing mix model. And just to kind of just recap again, right? Marketing mix modeling is a statistical analysis that looks at past performance, right? Media spend, pricing, distribution, seasonality, and outside events to really show you how each factor drove the important outcomes for you, right? Pipeline and revenue, right? With the goal being to give you that actionable confidence. And what we're seeing right now on my screen, we're looking at what would happen if we were to increase the previous quarter spend, right? So we're taking the previous quarter's spend and we're increasing the spend by 20% and checking how the optimal spend and the output, right, are changing with doing that, right? With that increase in spend, how are we driving, right, the value, right? And each of these, what you'll see right now is different stages, but the stages that we see will align to the funnel that you work with us to set up, right? So what we're seeing here, right, is we're looking at how with the spend, with the 2.6 million spend, right, we're seeing an increase in the projected pipeline value to $372.47 million, right? And the previous quarter spend being 2.16 million, and that pipeline value being 366.44 million, showing an increase of nearly 6 million, a 1.6% increase in pipeline value, right? So this is how you can start to see, not only see your current state, right, but also plan how that is going to look at. So if we take a look at the engine behind it, right, here we're seeing that we can do it by any region, right? So if you distribute your efforts on different regions, you can filter for that. And you can filter for what is that objective that you want to maximize? Is it pipeline? Is it closed won? And what are those channels, right? What is that ad channel mix for you? And you can do a forecast for the full quarter. So full quarter is like what's upcoming, right? And then rest of the quarter, right? That mid-quarter planning, right? Which is so key, right? Is this has been our performance to today, but how can we increase that? So that's one of the scenarios, right? So this is looking at the full quarter, but let's also take a look at if we were to do the rest of the quarter, right? So taking a look at the rest of the quarter, and what we're seeing here, right, is the goal is to see based on the current spend so far, right, seeing what inputting, right, your total spend for the quarter, and then based on that, it optimizes that remaining budget that you have for that quarter. And here we can see that it's telling us that the current spend across the selected channels in the quarter so far, right, and that 1.8 million total budget for the rest of the quarter constraint. And we can see how that is being optimized. And what we can observe here, right, is that 364.36 million in the projected pro tier value compared to the previous quarter output for the same metric of 366.44 million, right? So we see that for 0.3 million less spending, we're generating nearly the same amount. Hence, if we're optimizing for the rest of the quarter with time in hand, we can still optimize for our marketing spend. And these are some of the different use cases, right, that some of the customers that we're working with are covering, from a full quarter forecast to see what happens if I were to increase, how will that play out in the future, to planning for today, planning for today's quarter, and how can I optimize what is happening.
Exactly. And I think one thing too to highlight, especially with today's times and a lot of GDPR and all of that, is all of these outputs as well are very privacy safe and keep working even as tracking changes. I think the biggest thing is there's no cookies required for a lot of this stuff. Really making sure that we're able to consolidate and really make sure everything that we're doing and showing is the most impactful and things won't change.
Yep. And then, right, so we've kind of covered those spend optimization pieces, but here we can see the contribution by channel, right? So this is showing you kind of a more macro level view, right? Just showing you everything, how everything is contributing to that quarter, to the conversion pro tier or the expansion business tier. So just, for your funnel, right? If this is pipeline, if this is closed won, it's just, it'll just reflect your different funnel stages, right? And you can see here the contribution by quarter. And in the table below, right, you'll see listed out those different channels that Jay covered, right? Like paid media, Facebook Roundtable, and sales and business. So if we were to take as an example content syndication, right, we see that it says 0 campaigns. And that's a question that, we've worked with the customers like, oh, it says 0 campaigns. How could that have 1.52 million in pipeline being generated? And the reality, the beauty here is that we look 365 days before, right? So you're seeing the impact of those campaigns, right? The pipeline impact with that window of 365 days before, showing you how everything that you've run is having an impact today.
Exactly.
And then it's the response curves, right? Understanding at which point are we hitting saturation, right? So we're seeing that for quarterly Google spend and quarterly LinkedIn spend. And what this can help you answer is, it can help you answer, do I invest more in this marketing channel? At what point am I seeing that I'm hitting that saturation point, right? And if we're underspending, right, it can also be identified, right, by using this. So those are some of the different use cases that we're seeing, how our customers are driving value to be able to show, right, how can we drive more impact across the funnel.
Exactly. Thank you, Francisco. I see some questions as well in the chat. So we can go through some of these. So make sure if you have any, throw them our way. So Francisco, let's go through a few, right? So do I need a lot of setup? No. So in terms of how we set it up, from here, we're going to connect your CRM. We're going to select or connect all of your various channels, right? So we're going to do your LinkedIn, all your Google ads, any of those, and then start ingesting them within RevSure. From here, we're going to work with you within configuration. So we're going to help calibrate and understand your funnel stages, different things from there. One thing we also do is we do channel classification. So that's where we're going to understand, all right, as we're tracking these, we want these to fall into these different buckets. Within there is how we're going to be able to start showing those ROI curves, different things within there. From there, once we understand your budget, your channels, we have all of your systems synced. From there, we'll be able to help you showing the reallocation within different recommendations, different channels, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. And then we'll validate a lot of this as well with the incrementality lifts. We normally, with our customers, will do this bi-weekly within the platform itself. So very easy to get set up and running. A lot of it is just what we already have within RevSure. Now it's just more so, I think, understanding what are those actual insights. What should we be doing from here? Another question. Go, Francisco.
I think a lot of what you say, Jerry, is to put it in a buzzword term, right, is like automagically. I think that the key piece that we want to consider is having enough historical data, right? To at 2 to 3 years of historical data, right? Because having the ability to see that historical piece, right? That drives even further value, right? Because it's based on your historical data. And I think this is a key point that we always want to make. Everything that we're showing you, right, when you turn on MMX is your data. It's not benchmarked. It's truly and purely your data. So you can act with that confidence, right? It is my data. It's looking at my patterns, my seasonality, and your channels, right? We'll work with you so that the channels that are reflected there are the channels that reflect your go-to-market motions.
Yeah, exactly. And then another one here, I think we hear it all the time. What do I do if my data isn't perfect? Will MMX still work for us?
Yes. The answer is yes, right? And Jerry and I can both tell you, I think you know, perfect data is a pipe dream, right? I think we can do the best that we can, and we'll work with you, right? As Jerry has in it, as I have talked about, right? RevSure has a whole host of different systems in place, from fusing the lead and contact to working with you to bucket all of your campaigns into the proper channels, right? So creating that standardization and that consistency that will apply to all of your go-to-market motions. So rest assured, we got you.
Yeah. And then what would you say as we've been launching these with a lot of customers? What are potential mistakes that teams make when they first using MMX?
I don't, I wouldn't necessarily paint it as a mistake. I think it's understanding, right? One part is that it's your data, right? Like, because we're like, oh, I'm seeing all these cool analyses. How are we getting this, right? I think that's the first piece. And then the second is there's so much value, right? And it's really focusing on your objective, right? Because if you have the objective top of mind, then we're able to work with you to set up the proper widgets, right? Are we looking at what point are we reaching saturation? Are we looking at how to optimize our spend? Are we looking to create marketing scenarios, right? Which we didn't show in our demo, but we also have a marketing scenario planner. So you can plan for the future, plan for that channel distribution, that channel spend distribution. So I think it's not really a mistake, but it's really having the mindset and the objective that will drive the analysis that we do with you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Uh, and then the last one, when rolling out MMX across teams, what strategies have you seen work best to get buy-in from stakeholders who may be used to vanity metrics or last click attribution? Um, so I can cover the first part and then I'll pass to you, Francisco. I think one thing, as we mentioned, right, is the sales cycles have increased, I think, right, the duration because there's so many different people involved in the steering committee. So I think understanding, right, and if you have different sales stages, understanding what's working at what time to then progress those opportunities and hopefully help with your deal velocity. I think another thing as well, as we mentioned, right, is some of those channels that we are covering, right? You have SDR outreach, you have events, you have content syndication, you have so many different things in play where there's a lot of different teams and stakeholders who their teams rely on a lot of this data. So I think it's an understanding, right, of, hey, Francisco, I know you have 10 SDRs. What if we could show you what's working as far as their outreach, right? Is sending a direct mail initiative on stage 3 better than stage 1, right? Being able to have a lot of those scenario plannings and different things in place where you can really understand that your team's time is better spent doing something like this. That's just my thought. What is your thought there, Francisco?
Yeah, you've pointed out some great things. I think one thing that I hear a lot is, we're spending all this money on LinkedIn. We're spending all this money on Facebook, but it doesn't, right? Like people aren't converting on my forums. People aren't converting on my ads. How can I show proof of that, right? And that's what marketing mix modeling does is because we're showing you the contribution of that channel to pipeline and to revenue, irrespective of that form fill, which I think to me is one of the coolest things, right? As having been a former marketer, I remember running a lot of LinkedIn campaigns and being asked, okay, it's great that you're getting all these clicks. It's great that you're getting all these impressions. But at the end of the day, how is this contributing to pipeline? How is this contributing to revenue? And if it is, how much should I invest? And that's what we can answer. Not only can we tell you how to best perform your dollar, but we can also do current analyses to see how that dollar is doing, but also help you plan for the future to make that dollar rocket and roll it.
Couldn't have said it any better. Well, that wraps up our newest edition of our Funnel Vision webinar. Definitely appreciate everyone from joining. If you're listening to this recording, we appreciate you taking the time. If you have any questions, whether you're interested in RevSure or you're an existing customer and want to learn more about how we can launch this with your data, feel free to shoot me an email. My email is just jerry@revsure.ai, or feel free to come to RevSure's website, revsure.ai. Once again, thank you for the time. Hope everyone has a great day, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Cheers.